Well, hello and welcome to Sacred and Sassy Soulpreneur, where we talk about all the things about having a spiritual business that no one is saying out loud. I'm your host, Kerrie Wearing, a psychic medium soul coach with over 25 years of running my own spiritual business. And I have to say, I want to let you know that this episode is actually starting its live on Substack. It's the first time that I have gone live on Substack, so I'm a little bit excited about that. But still, I guess finding my way, so to speak. And the first um, video of the month, the first episode of the month that I always love to do at the beginning of the month is what I call Cosmic Currents. It's a little delving into the universal energies and seeing what they hold for us. And this month, it's through the lens of our spiritual businesses, our soulpreneur businesses, and what that means for us. And so, if you stick with me through that little ritual, through that little digging in and understanding and uncovering those insights in real time, then I'm certainly here happy to answer your questions and give you a little insight specifically around your spiritual business and what you can expect, especially if you've got any questions. And I want to welcome Faith and Joe, who are here with me live. I can see the chat, so thank you for being here. And let's start with reviewing June, and what some of that held for us. And I know if you follow me at all, I've already shared the fact that June was a real pivotal moment in the year. At the beginning of the year, there was a lot of talk about fire horse energy, and, fire horse energy, we were all expecting to be moving forward and, gaining momentum. But what we literally found was this first half of the year, that fire horse energy had us looking back. It had us looking literally to the past, letting go and using the fire of the fire horse energy to burn and let go and release what we weren't going to bring forward into our new lives. And some of that has been painful. It has felt like we've been stuck, right? And through that time, we've actually have made new connections that we're going to bring forward with us. We have made small progresses. We have made some small changes throughout that time that are going to continue to come with us as we move forward. And I feel like what Spirit is sort of saying to us is that those pieces of the puzzles have been falling into place throughout that first half of the year. And Faith agrees that she's definitely been in that stuck feeling. And it certainly, for me, I literally clairvoyantly see it as like this horse up on his hind legs, but he's looking behind. Almost, for me, it's symbolically to the left, so it's to the past. He's full of fire and he's burning it all away, and we've been going through that process. Now, last week specifically, that fire horse energy took a shift, and this was the pivotal moment. He literally turned from looking to the past to literally 180 about face, starting to look to the future. And so that means we're coming out of that stuckness. It means that those pieces of the puzzles have actually start to make more sense for you. You can sort of see it. You can sort of see it now. And you can sort of feel that forward momentum starting to build. And because from this point, It's not about stepping in and doing new things. It's about finding ways that you're already doing, but expressing it with more you, with more of who you are. Doing the things you've always done, but bringing more you to the party, allowing yourself to deepen into your authenticity, to express more of who you are, to allow yourself to step out of that comfort zone. And that's what it's really about. And I know that as we're coming through this shift that he's made, you've probably seen, and specifically if I bring this into your spiritual business, you've been thinking, or maybe you've changed some of the names of what you're doing. Perhaps you're creating a new offer because you feel like you need to go deeper. You have found ways, in some ways, of creating more balance. And I know for me, that creating more balance is me being here on Substack. It was a big thing for me that happened in June, and I'm really enjoying the pace. I'm really enjoying how it feels compared to where I was with my other socials. So I know for me, it's something I'm doubling down on and bringing more me. And Faith is saying, and I really appreciate you being here, Faith, that letting go of the social media has been a big one for her too. And I think for me, I'm just getting this feeling of we don't realize how much it gets under our skin. It doesn't, those of us that come from soul and try and work towards aligning the head and the heart and the soul and work from inspiration, we just don't realize how much most of those platforms actually work against our nervous system. And it can cannibalize our time. Actually, I know that happens for me. So I know, like, in discovering that sort of thing, I'm finding more balance. I've got more room and allowed myself to, that room is for creativity, for different thought processes, for sitting with spirit more, and allowing that to flow through my business even more. And so this is what this shift is meaning for us. And I guess one of the things as I move into July and the energy of July, the first thing that sort of whacks me in my intuition, my connection to spirit, is expansion. And as I move into the creative space of where I usually like to work and where I like to feel through from inside, before it then moves into our human circumstances, I'm hearing spirit say, how far do you want to go? And I guess we're at this point where what we actually need to do is sit down and visualize our next 6 months, the rest of working with the fire horse energy. Really visualize it in the detail. How far do you want to take it? Because it's at that point where we're visualizing and creating in the creative dimension before it starts dropping that guidance, that insight, those ideas into our everyday existence. So I know for me, I've started that process. I've started to sit down. I absolutely do need to sit down more in the detail of visualizing. And that may be something that I do this afternoon after having this awareness and realization. But we sort of need to be doing that. Now, when we hit expansion, what happens is it's normal to start feeling the doubt. It's normal to start feeling the questioning. It's normal. It's part of the process. As it's always as the soul moves out of the comfort zone, the natural human reaction then is to that very next thing is to doubt, is to question. So know that that's part of the process. And I guess if there's one thing that I can share from my experience is to not change what you're doing. Stick with it. I know I've spent a lot of years going around in circles because I questioned, I doubted, what am I doing wrong? And why isn't it working? And I guess if there's one thing that I've learned over the years, it's to actually not do that. It's to sort of go, let's stick with what we're doing. Let's figure it out. Let's keep going until it works, right? That's what we really need to um, stick with it. And if you're one of those people and you need help to figure it out, if you're feeling the whole expansion vibe that's happening in July, then I invite you to come and join me in my Sacred and Sassy Collective. It's my school community. It is free to join. And this month, the focus is on visibility and finding a way where finding that process where you feel safe and seen, and where we find balance in that, and where we can be comfortable in our nervous systems and comfortable in our bodies, that we're actually, as soulpreneurs, we're actually really in tune with the soul, and we're not fighting against that with having to create content, because that is draining. One, it doesn't allow us to show up and serve as who we truly are. So if that sounds like you, then I invite you to come and join the Sacred and Sassy Collective, and those links will be in the show notes, in where you find this video below, all of those things. So continuing with July, there is out in the collective space, so out on the world stage, there's still this tug of war. No, I know all year I've been filtering through some of the insights around what's happening with Trump and the wars and those sort of things. And there's still this tug of war going on at that level. And I do feel it's not as, I guess, volatile as it has been the first parts of the year. I do feel like that energetically there has been a level of peace that we have achieved. It's not completely there. It's all that, bravado of what we hear from him on in the media. It's all fluff and mirrors. Energetically, what's going on underneath is that there is a level of peace that has been achieved. Now, I'm not saying that it's ending or it's the world peace we're looking for. What I'm saying is that from where we were with that, there has been a level of peace achieved. So what that means for us is that we can settle a little bit, definitely. We can settle into our routines with that, knowing, however, that the situation in the Middle East is with us to stay for a little bit longer. I feel like he's completely lost control of it, has no influence anymore, and it's the kind of thing that they need to be left to their own devices. And it is certainly compounding and eradicating the decline of the US as a superpower. And I've been saying that all along. So what does that mean for us with our businesses? It means that we stay in our lane, that we stay true to who we are, knowing that that's going on, but also knowing that the work that we're here to do is part of that process. It's part of us needing to contribute to the world in our way to bring about more connection, more understanding, bringing through more of the essence of the divine feminine, that sense of service in humanity, and however that expresses itself through you, is this is a month for you to show up more. Now, what I'm just as I'm saying that, what's really feeling in for me is, and this is a pivotal month, it's a really important month because what we do in July will set the tone for the rest of the year. So July is not a month to hold back. July is not, it's a month to put your foot forward. It is a month to expand what you're doing, expand how much of yourself you're bringing into your business, into your life, into your relationships. Bring all of that, expand that, and you'll see those sort of connections and the universe responding and coming back to you. So I think if there's a message or something I want you to take away from everything I've just said, it's that. How important and significant July is. So just let me take a mouthful of water. So that's that's definitely the key to the month. And I'm feeling we won't, definite move forward energy faith, but also really, really important in how much we bring to it to move us forward. And July is not a month of seeing results, for example. July is a grounding month. So it's like, okay, it's a new you, you're settling in, you're bringing this new vibe, this new expansive vibe of who you are. You've made some changes. Now let's get comfortable in that. Let's ground that in. Let's ground in your routines. Let's ground in your connections. Before August starts, we then start to see results. And I'll give you a practical application of that. Say, for example, in my business, I've just made the move to Substack. It's something I just literally, I think this is my second podcast episode through Substack. It's literally been a couple of weeks. And this is the first time that I'm showing up live. I'm bringing more expansion through me. I'm just rocking up and doing it. I'm not putting in, marketing hooks and thinking about and scripting it out or thinking about what I've got to say. I'm just rocking up and doing it in real time because that's what works for me, right? And so July for me is about keeping that going and not letting my past and my baggage get in the way, my fear or doubt. It's just keeping going. And let's do that. And coming to it with the trust in myself and the trust in my guidance and trust in my connections to the universe, and that the universe is going to bring through what I need. But allowing for the fact that it's grounding in energy, and probably won't see those results, the results of the work we're doing until August is what I'm going to say. And yes, faith, trust in self is a huge one. And I will say that I think the spiritual space hasn't really, certainly in the psychic mediums and healers arena, it doesn't set us up for that, right? Because it actually says we need spirit guides. We need to connect with spirit, and that's where we get our wisdom, and that's where we get our guidance from. Um, so it doesn't allow us, setting us up to have those relationships with spirit, and spirit guides and other deities and angels, and we place all of that wisdom on them instead of coming into and building and developing relationships with our higher self, and really acknowledging that they're not separate beings, they are part of who we are, and that our wisdom is just as valuable as theirs, you know? Um, so that's a mistake that is made, that we're not honestly not set up to begin trusting in ourselves from the first place. It's something that, yes, self-love is teaching us, but it's still limited in some way. And yes, Faith, you're right. We are never in charge of the results, only the actions. But I think at the same time, we have to trust that there is going to be some level of results, that the universe is going to meet us with some of the results that we are looking for. And I think that's the where we can differ sometimes, is that we often think that it's because of the doubt, because we don't trust in our connection with the universe and its abundant nature. We don't trust in what we have to offer is actually wanted or needed by other people, that then we question, like, why the results not what I'm seeking, or what I'm looking for. Whereas when we have that trust on all of those levels, we know that results are going to be there, and yes, maybe they're not in the way that we're expecting, but the results are going to be there in some capacity. So no, we're not in charge of the level of results that we can achieve, but results will be there in some way. And maybe it's a new idea or a relationship that helps move you forward. It's this opportunity that you didn't expect. Maybe you see that increase in clients, in that little increase in, your members on school, your monthly revenue, all of those things. And I do think that the more that we build self-trust, and what I'm sensing and feeling is that when we come into it from knowing that we are creative beings and really taking ownership in that way of being the spirit that we are, the gap between what we're asking for and the results, the gap starts to lessen, it starts to align. But I am sensitive, it starts with being fully aware of what we're creating in the creative dimension. And to help with that, that's the work that I do. That's where my actual mystic medicine session comes in hand, because what happens there is people come to me with what their intention is, what are they trying to manifest? And we go through it together, you receive healing, but I use my mediumship to go into that creative dimension and see and tap into what's happening in that space for you. Is it actually being manifested? Is it actually being created? And two, what's unfolding? What are the blocks? What do you need to do to expand it, to have it drop in? And then the big difference is it's not just a reading. it's actually a healing as well. So while I'm in that space, I clear those energies for you, I open it up, we work with whatever it needs to be. And by all means, again, in the show notes, the link for anyone that would like to book that session, it's like um, $199 Australian, and it's, 45 minutes. And, you'll be clearer than you've ever been, clearer than what you can be working it through on yourself. And you'll also be given some sort of totem that I will send you, um, so that you can hold on to that totem and it continues to work the medicine for you within your world. So know that that opportunity is there. Should you still feel stuck, should you still feel like you need more clarity, should you still feel like there's still stuff getting in the way of you moving on, I know it's a real interesting insight for me, just even sitting here as a medium that does work in that creative dimension, to know that the more that we come from there, that the gap between what we're creating and our results actually start to come into alignment. And what we're asking for is what will happen when we actually come to that place of understanding that we are truly spirit in all things. So bringing that into our business. And as soulpreneurs, that's imperative, to be honest. So just to summarize, in the month, what July is really about for us, and July is that grounding month. It's about choosing to show up with more you, expanding you, bringing more of who you truly are into the equation. And what does that look like? And that's a conversation now that we're going to start having over in my Sacred and Sassy Collective. So we can work with this and deepen into it, bringing it through into our visibility focus for the month of July, so that we can really ground this month of July in. We're not expecting to start seeing results until August. So keep going and keep being more you. Now, as I said, I've got a few minutes here. I would love to open it up to some guidance for you, where I use my mediumship, whether I just feel it straight away or whether I might need to draw a card for you. I'm either okay, but please, if you have a question, if you need some help, we're going to keep this related around your soulpreneur businesses. If my guidance goes over into the rest of your life, then that's fine, because that's still linked to whatever question you have. Let's get a little bit more specific, Faith, because not so much general readings, but let's get a little bit more specific in what do you really need? What are you challenged with? What do you want to know? What's feeling hard in your business right now? Let's dig into that, let's show that in some way. What's feeling hard for you? I'm just trying to prompt you with some specific question, a little bit more detail than do I have anything for you. So Faith wants to pivot, but I'm scared to let go of what I've done for 7 years. And I do feel you want to move to self-leadership. What I sense in there, Faith, is I can see sort of like, it's like what you're not seeing, right? It's like this block of what you're not seeing. And I think I want you to look at everything you have done for the 7 years, because I sense that actually coming with you, to be honest. it's not letting go of it. It's like, how can it come into what you want to do, you know? And I feel like and this is the thing, this is more moving into self-leadership, is bringing more of you. It's like your which is everything I've been saying. So what I've been saying about what we need to do in July. And so if there are name changes and new offers, and perhaps there is actually one way that instead of making a massive big pivot, Faith, can I suggest that you create an offer, make a program focused around self leadership and how that actually applies to being in business? Because I know that that's what your work is, right? So create an offer, create a program that is focused on where you want to head to and what that means. You know, things like how do people um, grow in their confidence, build their self trust, all of those things that you want to move into, put it into a container that is one aspect of your business. And that's just the starting point. It's not the destination. I can see that if you open that up, that can grow. So how does that sit? How does that sit? And eventually in that growth pathway, you will actually find the um, you will find the new version of your business. So, because I'm not going to say that you're going to leave the old stuff behind. Yes, it may not be as much of a priority as what it is right now. Um, that's it. It is this and that, not a full let go. But it also is not two separate things either, right? It is like I can feel it coming in as a whole, but it starts with just opening this new offer, building that into what you're doing now and incorporating it. And, you know, it becomes a content pillar, for example, you know, like just build it in that way. So, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes for you. And when we make that shift, maybe that's something that you can hop on as one of my guests on this podcast, and we can share that story about you moving through that um, process and what July has really meant for you, you know, in that way. That would, you know, so that you can share, because I'm sure you're not the only one going through this process right now. You know, like there will be lots of people, lots of soulpreneurs and spiritual business owners that would be going through this, um, you know, business thing. So this business shift, you know, where what does it mean when you do trust yourself? What sort of starts to come through, you know, and how does it look? Um, and yes, let's get together and let's connect and talk about how we can jump on one another's podcasts and um, share the stories in what we're doing. So I want to say that I really appreciate you being here with this support today, Faith. And if anyone else is listening, and certainly would love a um, a chat around where you're at in your soulpreneur business, that I do have a soul strategy call. It's 20 minutes, it's free. That link will also be in the show notes. And let's get together and help you through, you know, so that you can move forward and really capture this momentum and this forward movement energy of the fire horse that is with us now. So, wishing God bless everyone. Take it easy, and I will see you next time. And thanks again, Faith.